Hi everyone. Firstly, thank you very much for tuning in. My name is Andrew Smith and I'm one of the co-founders at Fathom. In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you a whistle-stop tour of our experience building and deploying CAT models using the Oasis framework. Firstly, a little introduction to Fathom. Fathom was formed out of the University of Bristol in the UK. The university itself is one of the leading research centres in the world developing computational flood models. I moved to the university over 10 years ago now to work on the kinds of models that you can see on the screen. I was fascinated then and now by the development of these computational flood models that can represent the physical processes of flooding with incredible detail. Although we can build flood models in many regions that have both high accuracy and precision, for the majority of the world, this isn't possible. In fact, building the kinds of models that you can see on the screen right now is very difficult for the majority of the planet. At Fathom, we're focused on solving this problem, and we're building hydrodynamic flood models covering the whole planet. However, before we spend too much time wallowing in self-congratulations, there's another significant problem to solve, and that is, how do we build large-scale CAT models, and how do we make them accessible? This is where Oasis comes in. The first point to raise is perhaps an intuitive one, and that is model size. Flooding is a spatially complex peril, and what I mean by that is that you can be wet in one location and dry in another. Therefore, you have to represent the peril at high resolutions. Unfortunately, when you combine high resolution with event sets covering tens of thousands of years of plausible events, you quickly end up with models that are enormous. So that poses a really significant challenge when building a flood CAT model. And as complex as the hazard components of these models can be, historical records show us that the vulnerability components of these models, or the translation of hazard into loss, can be even more uncertain. Simple linear relationships between hazard and loss just don't exist in reality. Instead, we need to be able to represent these processes probabilistically. One of the things that we were told early on was that clients didn't want another platform. They didn't want to have to contend with lots of different formats. This is where Oasis and some of its partners, including NASDAQ, have been pivotal. You can now consume multiple models from different providers in the same place. And the last big challenge for us, and in many ways this goes back to the problem of model size, is that we have to make these tools easily accessible. And when you have a model that's getting on for terabytes in size, that's easier said than done. Thankfully, Oasis are now in a position to handle models like ours. And with hosts like NASDAQ, you can run millions of lines through our model in minutes. Oasis and its partners have overcome many of the challenges that I set out previously, and they really do enable organizations like ours to bring models to market. I wanted to finish up with a word to any other model developers out there. I think we build some of the most challenging models that can be built, frankly. So if we can build Oasis models, then so can you. Lastly, feel free to get in touch or check out any of the content on our website. Thanks again.